Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. All right, so let me start this broadcast off by saying I bring facts, not politics, okay? So there's been an article that I've seen quite a few articles going around talking about, studies, how the studies have shown that the tax reform, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, you call it Trump's tax plan, call it whatever you want, it only made rich people richer. And if you've been following me for any length of time, I have talked about this tax plan up and down and sideways. And so now that we've actually had the first filing season, all this other stuff is starting to come out to really pretty much validate what I said. Now, I don't have a crystal ball or any of that kind of stuff, but what I do know how to do is read, and I know how to do the math, okay? And this is important because when you learn how the money works, you totally get what happened, okay? So now, one of the selling points for the Trump tax plan was essentially the whole trickle down effect, that if you cut the corporate tax rate, that's going to give them more money to create more jobs, raise salaries and all of that. This is the same song that happened back in '86 with the Reagan tax code change. Trickle down didn't work then, and it didn't work now. So what happened to the money? Okay. Because what was sold is that, okay, everybody's going to get a tax cut, and, we're going to hold hands, sing kumbaya, we're going to have more money in our households, all of that. And that's the part that they sold. They sold the doubling of their standard deduction. So they put the big headlines out there, but the small print is really what got you, okay? Because it's that, because now depending on where you were in the country, depending on your family dynamics, some people made out better. And I'm talking about, people that make like less than $250,000 and less. Some people made out well. Some people didn't. Some people saw an increase in taxes, because of a shift in the tax brackets, because even though each tax bracket received a tax deduction, because of the shift in the tax brackets, some people wound up in a higher tax bracket anyway. If you lived in a high state and local tax state, like the New England area where you can sneeze and have $10,000 in state and local tax deductions, right? That limitation hurt people. The removal of the unreimbursed employee expenses for people like police officers, for service industry people who work W-2 jobs but spend a lot of their own money and gas and whatnot servicing people. The removal of those unreimbursed employee expenses hurt people. There are some people that were in the perfect storm of removing all of those deductions. It really did hurt them. But overall, there are some people that did see a reduction in the amount of tax. The adjustment to the W-4 did not go well at all, because people saw a little bit more money coming home, but they also saw less in refunds. And there are some people that wound up owing unexpectedly. And it's not that you didn't receive a tax cut, it's that you got that money throughout the year and you really didn't notice it. So there is a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. But now, let's talk about how this money worked. And I hope you pay attention to this, because who knows when something like this will happen again. And I'm hoping that you will learn to really pay attention and read and not just go with the headlines. So when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was released, I read it all. I sat here on a weekend, as a matter of fact, on my couch, and I read that whole entire thing because I wanted to see what was going on. Now, so what happened? So first of all, the corporate tax cut was huge. They cut brought the corporate rate down to 21%, a flat 21%. I think that's what it is. But anyway, The point is that a lot of corporations were like, woohoo, this is awesome, right? Because again, the what was sold is that because of this tax cut, corporations were going to have more money to hire more people, create more jobs, blah. The thing that people miss is you can't tell businesses how to spend their money. Okay? Can't do it. So there was a Fortune 500 conference in Dallas, and corporations, these CEOs said, we're not adding more jobs. We're not raising salaries. If anything, they were investing in their companies. They were investing in new machinery, new automation, and and modernizing and innovating in their businesses. What does innovation and automation do? It takes away jobs, right? So this is why I tell you, don't be sitting up here talking about, oh, immigrants are coming to take your jobs. Immigrants are not taking your jobs. Automation is taking your jobs. When you look at the landscape of how things are changing, when you go to the store, how many self-checkouts there are. When you go to restaurants and you see the little self-serve order thingies, right? This is just the beginning. You're talking about delivering things via drones, self-driving cars, okay? All of these innovations are really great, but these are people's jobs that are going to be going away, okay? Now, so what else happened with the corporations? Well, corporates posted record stock buybacks. That means that there were people that invested in companies that had stocks, right? And corporations bought them back. And so then there was lots and lots of capital gains money. People made a lot of money with these stock buybacks. Okay. Now, when you make money off of stocks, you have capital gains. Now, capital gains is taxed at the lowest rates compared to income tax rate. I think the top capital gains rate is like 20%, but you got to make a lot of money in order to even get taxed at that 20%. So now, what did not hit the street and is currently just hitting the street now in 2019, when it was on the low in 2017 and 2018, is these qualified opportunity zones. And I talked about this way back when, you guys, okay? Now, with these qualified opportunity zones, there are what the states can do is submit tracts of land, usually in poorer neighborhoods. And so to get to become a qualified opportunity zone. And so what a qualified opportunity zone allows you to do is you can take your capital gains tax-free and invest in qualified opportunity zones to revitalize neighborhoods and all of that stuff. Okay. Now, if you leave your money in long enough, you either get only a portion of it taxed or you can get out tax-free. So you don't pay taxes on the capital gains. And then with the real estate, whatever you appreciate, if you've left your money in there long enough, you can get out tax-free. So this is how millions upon millions, if not billions of dollars are going to go to wealthier people. Tax-free. Because it's the law. And then we're going to hear people complaining because what neighborhoods are these? These are people who are lower income people who can't afford, to live in these places already, that are going to be moved out because you don't own anything, right? You're paying your rent, faithfully paying your rent. Listen, when you're renting, you don't own, you do not make the final decisions. Period. So these people are going to be moved out. These neighborhoods are going to be revitalized. And people are not going to be able to afford to move back. So now, y'all want to know how, gentrification happens? Well, now this is tax-free gentrification. This is how it happened. And how did this happen? Because nobody read. So, like the qualified opportunity zones is really not, this was This was some low key news. And it's just like with anything else, right? When it comes down to investing and all of those things, like the wealthy people get the news first and then everybody gets to come in later. Same thing. So this is how all of that happened, you guys. It wasn't in like the deductions and stuff. Wealthy people, there's this thing that's called the P's limitations. They're wealthy, well, the uber wealthy people, they don't get to itemize deductions anyway. So this was not a hit to them at all. There's income limitations for a whole bunch of stuff that they don't get to take advantage of anyway. So that whole, taking away itemized deductions and limiting stuff didn't really impact the wealthy people at all. It had an effect on everybody else. And so just to give you an idea, so back in, when they had the last tax reform in 86, they measured a period of time, and I think it was over maybe 15 years or something like, don't quote me on the time, but they measured the time. And so the top 3%, their wealth increased by 80%, and everybody else was about 6%. What do you think is about to happen with this? So I'm telling you, taxes, this is not something to sleep on and you just go and let somebody punch some numbers in. You have to really learn how this works. And then we're going to hear, the rich take advantage of the poor. Well, here's the deal. Even the Bible says the poor will always be among you. You have to make it your business to increase your generational wealth in whatever way you possibly can. And then teach your children and their children to build your generational wealth, because that's when you get a seat at the table. And that's when you have an impact on these type of things. So, like I said, when I have these types of live broadcasts, people want to come at me and, it's not that simple. Yeah, it really is that simple. Didn't say it was easy. But it really is that simple. When you watch how the money has worked and changed, when you really look at what happened here, anybody that read this tax code already knew what was going to happen. That whole trickle down thing, it didn't work in 86. Anybody that read any studies knew it didn't work. Knew it didn't work. And then they were going to do it anyway. So, yeah. Yes, they are converting a gang of taxable assets into tax-free investment. Yes, and then have tax-free gains again. Yes, that's exactly right. So that's the scoop, you guys. It is what it is. It's done. So the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act right now is scheduled to sunset December 31st, 2025, unless Congress does something to make it permanent or what have you. So if you have not figured out that it is really time for you to get wise about your money, let this be the sign to you that it's time to be wise about your money. It is really time to start learning about investing and growing your wealth. Even if it's not for you, it's for the generation after you. Because we need money to live. And if you are, if you're going to continue to wait on people to do the right thing, listen, listen, you better be working for yourself. And if that happens, great. But in the meantime, you gotta read and understand and work on saving yourself. That's the deal, you guys. Okay. So thank you guys so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9:00-ish, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.